Hey, what's up, Rattlers? So I'm in Fort Myers, Florida right now, and a couple of months ago when I was here at the Daytona Reptile Breeders Expo, you guys may have seen that video, I ran into Marcus Cantos and saw some of his absolutely amazing turtle morphs at the Turtle Source. So I knew that the next time I came to Florida, I had to do an episode completely dedicated to Mark and his absolutely amazing turtle morphs. Wait until you guys see these. I'm Dāv Kaufman, and I am obsessed with reptiles, and I have been since I was 9 years old. 25 years later, I made a trilogy of award-winning movies about them. Now my life is all about touring the world in search of them in wild places, and checking out some of the most awesome breeding facilities and reptile expos while I'm at it. So come with me and join my reptile adventures.
At Rainbow Mealworms, we grow all our insects 100% naturally so that you get the freshest, most lively feeders on the market. So for all your reptile food needs, place your order today at rainbowmealworms.net.
All right, so what do we have in this tub here?
So here's a really cool situation where we built a pretty decent little setup and then nature took over. We'd like to take credit for all this moss and ferns. This just grew naturally.
So all these ferns and this moss on this, just naturally?
Natural Florida stuff.
Wow.
And what we've got in here is we've got a morph of the Wichita map turtles. And it's a really freaky morph. Black eyes, a lot of high orange, yellow. These are white when they're born. And we've got two big girls, so we're going to be putting them back. We're putting them back to other Wichita maps that are very pretty. These are actually two sisters, and they're related. They're sisters, but they have different eyes, so the morph may be a little different. But if you look at them, they're not anything like a gray map turtle colors, and they've just got screaming oranges and pinks.
Wow!
And so that's coming out in a couple of years. And
I didn't know there were any morphs of the Wichita, or you know, some people call them Wichita map turtles.
Yeah. And,
wow.
And these guys are that. Over here.
Yeah. Who's this guy here?
This is. Let me show you a. I'll show you a normal Reeves turtle first.
Okay.
So this is a large Reeves turtle, normal colored, and you can see mostly grays, a little yellow on the head, dark turtle, female. Mm-hmm. About 4 years old. And another, little lighter colors. During the breeding season, the males have a black head. So what I've got now is I've got a male hypo. And he's dark on the head because it's breeding season and all the males turn jet black. But you see his shell didn't really get that black. And this is indicative of what's going to happen with these guys, because I've got a pair of the hypos. And this is a female. And you can see the coloring. And you can see how different it is.
Wow, so that's the hypo.
That's a hypo. The male's a hypo too, but he's in breeding season, so he's dark. Now, in about a month when the breeding season ends, he'll color up again. Wow. But this is a hypo Reeves turtle, and we're hard at work on the second generation of those. And that's something that's unique to the U.S.
So nobody else has these?
That I know of, no. Huh. I know there's some in Asia, but there's none here. Fantastic. So we're working hard at those.
You know, just real quick, I love how you have designed these tubs with these naturalistic, just log slabs. A lot of, wait, can I talk? A lot of people will just, you know, put like a float or something, you know, in there, but the way that you have these designed is amazing.
Last year we hatched about 4,200 turtles, and we said, well, we can do a little bit better. And this year we hatched a little over 6,000.
6,000 turtles you've hatched this year. Just this year.
Yeah, and we are working really hard to take care of everybody who hasn't found a new home yet. And here you can see we've got some breeder pink belly side necks.
Oh yeah, there he is down there.
The girls are hets, and some of the boys are. Well, all the boys are albinos. Some of the girls are albinos as well. You can see, look at this pretty one up here.
Look at that.
They'll come up with a And they're just really neat turtles. I've got one in every tank, and I keep one in my bedroom. It's just, they're just a pretty turtle.
Yeah, that is just gorgeous. I don't think people really appreciate that there are morphs of turtles, first of all, and just how incredible those morphs are.
Well, ball pythons, which I'm a big fan of, I used to work for an importer years ago that brought in the first of the yellow ones and the black ones, and then Kevin McCurley at Nerd turned that into what it is today. And I always say, if everybody gave Kevin $1 for every ball python that they invented, well, there's 7,000 morphs now.
Right,
and there should be 8,000 by the end of the year.
Right.
Well, turtles don't turn over as fast, but turtle enthusiasm is not any less.
Right.
Especially with the purists and the people who are into the morphs. So you have people who are really into this species or that species, or people who are really into the morphs. And really, a lot of our customers are in Asia. And they just live for turtles. It's sacred in many of their traditions over there, and even some of their religions. So they're really big on that. And really, China is a big part of that. Japan is a big part of that. And they're really keen on the morphs. The problem is with us, it takes us 4 or 5 years to perfect the morph.
Right, right. So on that note, I just want to, on the average, a female ball python reaches sexual maturity at 3 years.
Yeah.
On the average for turtles, of course, every species is different, but on the average, what are we looking at to reach sexual maturity in turtles?
Well, if you've got a trait, and you've got one turtle like that white Tripricatus we just showed you, you've got her, she's going to take 3 or 4 years to get the breeding size because you push. But if you do it naturally, it's going to be 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
Doesn't really matter, because sexual maturity is not going to come until 7 or 8 years. Then you're going to put that back with a het to actually produce the morph. You're looking at 8, 9, 10 years normally to turn something into a working morph like this. These albino pink bellies are 3 to 4 years old, and you can see I've got 2 males there, and they're to be second generation in producing, they're going to have to be about 5, 6 years old, and they are just something else. And just like a normal pink belly, they're very quick swimmers, very outgoing, very friendly, and when they dive down and then come up like any other pink belly, you can see that pink from across the room. This again, Dave, this is a $5,000 turtle 10 years ago.
And what are these now?
Well, you should be able to get these retail for under 2, probably under 1,000 in another couple of years. And before you know it, everybody can have one. In about 5 years, everybody will have one for about $200.
Right. Well.
So it'll be real easy for people to get and appreciate.
My God, those are beautiful. See ya. So you keep some turtles in racks here.
Yeah, these are
just like ball python people.
These are marine plywood racks. They made it through the hurricane a year ago, and they give us the ability really to take care of anything in groups right near the sink. If you look, these are some Tripricatus, the giant Mexican musk babies from this year. This is a typical coloration. This is a light one, this is a dark one. And we hatch a bunch of these. And like anything else, the market comes up and goes down in price. And these are very proud of. They're monsters, but they do get pretty good size. And if you look at a typical coloration, and I'll show you one we held back from a couple years ago that we're very proud of and we're hoping will turn into something for us. And this girl hatched out for no apparent reason, and she's just a white one. Just a very light colored one. You can see she's missing all the markings on the mandibles. There's no belly markings if you compare them. And she's just a white Tripricatus. So we'll have to go 2 generations in, but she's almost breeding size, another year or so.
And she's very friendly.
Yeah. She's a typical Tripricatus, leading with the mouth. And so that's a pretty neat one we're hoping for in a couple of years.
Wow, that is great.
These are some pretty yellow bellies that we hatched. And we do hatch a nice one. But a good friend of mine, a neighbor, is one of the top breeders in the world, and he's been doing this for 4 generations now. And his are actually called Golden Flames, and they make these look ugly. They really do, even though these are some beautiful turtles. His Golden Flames are the top morph in the world right now for Florida red bellies. I'll show you some of those.
Yeah, definitely want to see those. Those are over here. Hang on. Somebody needs a little help. There you go, buddy.
Okay, coming up here, I have the Golden Flame Florida red bellies.
Yes.
And like I showed you that pretty one that we produce, it's not even close to this. I mean, these guys are just breathtaking. So somebody working on these, if you start out with the morph, you can produce the morph yourself within 5 years easily, sometimes 4. And that's a real pretty turtle. I've got a couple of those.
It's a gorgeous turtle. Holy crap.
These are Argentine side necks. These are really cool turtles. This is probably one of the most personality positive turtles. They're like little monkeys. They come over, they want to see what you've got, they want to see what you're doing.
I'm really curious, huh?
They really are. They're silver, they're really pretty colored. They take the cold very well. They're awesome outside pond turtles are up north because they get pretty good size. They get raccoon-proof size at about 7-8 inches. They're very outgoing. They're not shy, and if you bother them, they don't have a problem fending you off. So if a raccoon were to approach them, but they're awesome pond turtles. And in South America, you get a lot of these different types of side necks. These guys, the Geophranus, the Gibbas, they're all very similar, very closely related. They're really tough, cool, outgoing side necks, and they have very distinct mating dances, like a lot of the Cherchemis, a lot of the sliders.
Yeah,
do.
right.
And they're just a cool all-around turtle. And since my dad's from Argentina, I take an extra special.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
I call him a Frankenstein map turtle because he's like nothing else. There's no explanation for his coloring. He's a yearling now, and he's got really neat colors. He's got orange in there, and this is not a normal map turtle colors. He's got broad yellow banding on his head. A lot of my friends are really serious map turtle aficionados, and nobody knows what that is. Nobody knows how or why. And it's just something completely different in map turtles.
Wow.
It's a pretty spotted turtle we hatched out some years ago.
Just love spotted turtles.
Pretty female. You can see the white markings on their face or the light colors. And just one that we saved back for the spots. Looks like a starry night there.
Yeah, sure does.
These are Gorzugis. These are Rio Grande Cooters.
Cooters, right.
Yeah. And just some really nice colors
hieroglyphics on those.
Yeah. And these are Geoclemis hamiltoni. This is the other Indian turtle that we have, and we've been producing these for about a dozen years. The originals in the U.S. all produced by Wayne Hill, and now these guys. This one's probably going to be breeding size in another year or two, and they do very well here.
Now, speaking of Wayne Hill, do you get your booth at Daytona in exchange for turtles, or does he charge you cash as well?
I think Wayne might produce. I don't know how many species he produces, but I think he produces more turtles than we do.
Yeah.
We're up to about 6,000. This is a gibbous side neck from South America, actually related to the Argentine side neck. Now Wayne, I think, produces more turtles than most people. He's become very good.
I got to get out there and check out his facility.
You definitely do. This is a Geophranus, also a South American side neck turtle. Really outgoing. They're all very outgoing. This one's particularly pretty colored, the Geophranus. This is a charcoal albino red ear slider, black eyes, gray skin. It's completely different looking from any normal red ear slider. Just a really cool morph. This is a lime version of our Paradox, and the Paradox is a different colored red ear. Some of them are white, some of them are lime, some of them are kind of a yellow gray, but they have black markings on their feet, black markings on their shells, and they're all different. And it's a very unpredictable, not easily understood morph, except that when you hatch a bunch of eggs, you're not going to get very many hets at all. You're going to get almost all the morph, but you just don't know. Are they going to be lime? Are they going to be white? Are they going to be yellow? We have had some with pure green Paradox markings on them.
All right, well, let me ask you this real quick. Is paradoxing in turtles genetic?
It is for this line.
Really?
Yeah. So this is something that pops up. When we breed these adults together, our adults together, they produce this very well. And a lot of times they're born all white, all yellow, all green, and the markings come in afterwards. So these are most likely born solid colored, and then these colors come out.
And then the colors come in later.
Right, and you can see the black on the tail and everything. And the interesting thing about them is that every one of them is born with bright, piercing, glowing red eyes. Wow. And usually as they're out in the sun after a while, they tend to blacken. If you hold the turtle in the sun just right, you can see the red in the eye.
Yeah.
But it's some sort of a T-positive albino mix with this black marking. So what it actually is, nobody really knows. And actually, I try to sort it out with a couple genetics people, and we're just happy that everybody wants them, and whether you understand it or not. Plus, like I said, 1 out of 10 is a het. Right. Which is really
1 out
weird.
of 10 is a het.
Yeah. These are some really funky red ear morphs. They call these albinos. And if you get them to stick their colors out, you'll ooh and ah at the head color and the markings, just breathtaking stuff. And these are different variations of what they call albinos. And you can see the red in the eyes if you get them in the sun just right. So they're an albino, but they've got all this other weird coloring on them, and just the markings just take your breath away.
Wow.
I personally love the colors on these.
Those are amazing.
Isn't that...
So how many different morphs of red-eared sliders are there?
There's probably about 24 different ones right now, but ones that people are working solidly with and frequently, probably about 9.
About 9, okay.
Yeah, and these are again different types of albinos, different morphs that people are working with, and we've just started producing some of these. And also you can tell the similarity because the head is particularly narrow on these guys, a real pointy nose, and that's just what happens to be a trait of this morph. But these are also albinos. Here's a normal albino red-eared egg, and you can see the coloring is everything's reversed. It's a really cool, bright version of a red-ear.
Sure.
This is a paradox. A lot of the dark markings on the shell, but also on the feet, if you'd show them to us. And this was our very first paradox that ever hatched. You know, I was working with a group of turtles that was particularly weird, had a lot of really different traits, and I was excited to see what happened. And in my 4th year, a green turtle hatched out, and I was like, wow, what a waste that was. I thought I'd at least get something a little lighter colored, because it was really kind of a lime coloration that these guys had, but they all, as babies, all had red eyes. So then the second egg hatched, and it was this turtle. And it had these really cool natural green markings mixed in, even a little bit on the belly. And that was the very first paradox albino red-eared slider. So I'll never let him go for anybody, but he's really cool turtle, and he'll probably next year be big enough to put back to the original females. This year we were actually producing the very first female paradox. We've never done that before. And so people ask, well, what are you going to get when you put paradox to paradox? And we just have no idea.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you won't know until you pair them.
Yep. About 6 months before the hurricane, we started building, and just before the hurricane hit, we come up with, this is a 2017 model. Same type of thing. You've got a row of these trays, except the trays are twice as deep. And then the area on top, instead of laying down 2x4s, we have upright 2x6s. What's the best way to get in? We couldn't figure out a hinge for this, so we just come up with a little bit of a different thing where we have a little groove. Where
oh, there you go. That works.
So this comes off, it keeps all the predators out around the edging, and if we want to clean it out, we'll pull our land out, which gives them a lot more, twice the water, like 4 times the land. We hang up the land, we'll pull this out, and then if you don't watch out, your feet will get wet, and it'll clean it out. We'll take our hose, and you can clean out the cage. Check on all the animals, make sure that everybody's in good health, not having any problems. Set that in, turn that on, and if you've got 40 or 50 3-inch turtles or 250 baby turtles, your actual work on that cage, giving everybody individual attention, is about a minute.
Wow. So one of the things that I'm really interested in is why people work with what they work with. Why did they get into snakes or lizards or whatever? For you, it's turtles and tortoises. How did you get involved with all this?
You know, it's a little weird for me. I was a New York City kid, and my family moved out to Long Island when I was 11, and right up the street was a little pond park, and I'd been out in the mud, you know, all the way through high school. And then when I went to school, I focused on that for a while, and then I missed turtles and that sort of thing, and a friend of mine had gotten into reptiles years before. I'd introduced him to another guy, and he came down here and opened an import business and kept bugging me to come down here and work with him. I always came down on spring break. Everybody's going out and drinking and partying, and I'm going turtle hunting and snake road cruising and stuff like that in the Everglades. And I just loved it. I've always loved it, and so this is the perfect thing. And then when I was ready to move down and own my own house in the early 90s, in New York, all the houses were in the many hundreds of thousands, and back then down here you could buy a house for under $100,000 and be in the middle of this reptile paradise. So I've been here ever since.
So how long have you been doing this?
Well, I'm 56, and I started when I was 11, so, you know, do the math. I had a few years off for school, and working in, quote, the real world before I came down here to work for real. And it's probably about 40, I'd say about 44 years that I can recall actually being a turtle guy.
Wow.
And I've been doing it ever since, and never lost an interest in it. And we just do it on a little bit larger scale. When I was in the 6th grade, I caught my first snapping turtle, and I'm building this little tank, and I'm doing all the landscaping, and my dad looks over my shoulder, and he's a craftsman 9 different ways, and he says, "That's a pretty cool little talent you got there. Too bad you can't make money doing that someday." So I don't know that we're making a lot of money, but we're certainly enjoying ourselves, doing good work, paying all the bills, and we're up to 99 different species of turtles and tortoises now.
Hey, you know what? That's the important thing, is that you're loving what you do.
Exactly. It really makes a difference.
So Rattlers, you see what I mean about the most amazing turtle morphs I've ever seen. You know, as I was filming this episode, I was putting down the camera and I was just staring at these turtles. You know, I'm a snake and I'm a lizard guy, and turtles have always kind of been in the peripheral of my love of reptiles, but man, I'll tell you, they are taken front and center, especially after filming an episode like this. So anyway, Rattlers, there are so many more adventures coming up, so hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, and when you do, hit that bell so you never missed an upload, and also check out our Patreon, and until the next reptile adventure, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.